We've saved the best for last year on Purple Eagles Weekly. Calvin Murphy, his jersey retired at the Gallagher Center. Bob Val is with Calvin.
We're back here at the Gallagher Center. This time I'm with Purple Eagle great and NBA Hall of Famer Calvin Murphy. Calvin, it's been a little while since you graduated from Niagara. How has campus changed since you left?
Oh, tremendously. During my stint here, it was a very small, minute, beautiful college, but it's amazing how much they've done with the landscape. Of course, the new buildings with the Gallagher, with the new science building going up right now, and then of course they have the new dorms. When I was here, we didn't have females on campus, doggone it, but it's still a very beautiful campus, and I enjoy coming back to it.
And you've been able to take in a few games here at the Gallagher Center. How has the game day atmosphere changed since you were on the court?
Well, you know, NU students are still very loud and boisterous, and they get into it. But you know, during our time, of course, we were a winning program, so that allowed us to have more people into the building. But it's not about numbers; it's about the enthusiasm, and that hasn't changed very much. Unfortunately, for for NU basketball, a lot of the big games are during the holidays when a lot of our students are away at home.
And then even this past weekend with the game against Loyola, fans in the end zone were chanting your name. That had to feel pretty good, right?
Well, you know, anytime I need to feed my ego, I come back home. You know, I was looking forward to doing the roller coaster, which has become a tradition here at NU. But, yeah, the fans here, the student body, has always made me feel as though I had not gone away and graduated, but I'm still a part of the student body.
All right, we're going to take it back a little bit now. Okay. You're originally from Connecticut.
Norwalk, Connecticut.
Norwalk, Connecticut. How do you remember what originally attracted you to NU and made you want to be a Purple Eagle?
Well, you know, it's funny. My high school coach was always a big Niagara University fan. Long before I knew about Niagara, he knew the tradition of Niagara with Zeke Sinicola and Al Butler and Hoxie and Fleming and the whole star-studded cast, and he got me acquainted with Niagara first. But what sold me on the school was when I came to visit the student body. They were playing St. Bonaventure that night, and the student body, there were streamers all over the place, and they had this big long sign, "Welcome Calvin from Norwalk." And right from that time, they made me feel warm and wanted. I had done some other visits to various schools, Maryland, Loyola Chicago, Boston College, and it was come and play for us and make up your mind, let us know. But the NU family made it very plain that they wanted me to be a part of them, and it worked well. Our freshman class were crazy. There were 682 of us, I believe, and we got to be all one. I lived in Lynch Hall on the 4th floor, which we call the zoo, and they promised me that they were going to adopt me and make me part of it, and they kept their word.
With all of those great memories from your time at Niagara, what do you miss the most?
The camaraderie of the class. As I said, we as freshmen were very, very, very close. And I got to be a part of them. They got to be a part of me. And over the time, I get letters from them, and I get to see them when I come up to the Niagara Frontier, that type of thing. But just the student body in itself. I ended up living in O'Shea Hall, and you know, it was one of those situations where the people that I had my senior with, they called me in the past when I was in their cities, and when they've come into Houston, I've invited them into my home. So I think the most of my memory that I miss most of all was hanging with all the guys.
Do you have a favorite moment from your time as a Purple Eagle?
You know, I do. I don't think they're allowed to do it anymore because they call it hazing. But, you know, when we came in, we had to be indoctrinated. And my hazing name was Maid Marian. Don't let me tell you that story. But that was the 2 weeks that we had to go through the indoctrination period was the greatest moment of my 4 years up here because it got you ready for college life. You know, I came in here as a little cocky basketball player from Norwalk, Connecticut, and they broke me down quickly.
All right, and now this weekend. This past weekend, you had your jersey re-retired, name and number in the rafters. What does that mean for you personally, that every time somebody comes into the Gallagher Center, they see you up in the rafters?
Oh, God, you know, you got to remember, it's been 40 years since I've played basketball at NU. And most of the players that I've played with in the pros, they don't even hear from their colleges, and they were all stars in their own respective rights. But to come back and for them to retire my number, you got to understand what that means. That says right there in volumes that you are still the man. And one of the reasons Niagara basketball has gone to another level. I thought about that when I first heard about this. I said, why would they retire my number? But just to take it, dust it off, let a whole new generation of youngsters understand who I am, what I try to do in you. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
And we've heard all the great memories. You're very proud of your number going in the rafters. How proud are you of Niagara as a university for all that it's done and all that it continues to do?
Well, when they first recruited me, they didn't tell me how many minutes they were going to let me play. They didn't tell me I was going to be an All-American. They didn't tell me any of those basketball accolades. They said, you come here, we're going to give you a chance to get an education, to be a young, productive man here in this country. And they did that. So I cannot begin to tell you how important NU has always been to me and for me. And they have since taken youngsters underneath me over the years and done the same thing. When I look at Marshall Wingate, that has blossomed into a tremendous person in society and a businessman, and he was an NU star. It tells me that we're not just athletes, we're student athletes that they care for. That's very important. We're not just a number.
All right, Calvin, thank you very much for joining us today. That'll do it for us here at the Gallagher Center. We'll send it back to the studio. Jer?
Thanks very much, Bob. Our thanks again today to Calvin Murphy, Bob Vale, Sam Goodwin, Paul Hamilton, Wanye Green, and, of course, Dave Burkholder, who is here in studio. That does it for another edition of Purple Eagles Weekly. We'll see you back here on Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, same time next week.